Hi, this is Rosie, and I'm going on tour in June. Stay tuned and follow along with Shutter 16 magazine. Hello,
Hi, Rosie. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us here today at Shutter 16 Magazine.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I thought maybe we could get started by having you tell us a little bit about how you first got into music.
Absolutely. Great place to start. I grew up in a very musically inclined family, I like to say. So, everyone from my dad to my mom to my grandfather and grandmother on both sides to my cousins to my aunts and uncles, they were all very passionate about music. And so, it makes sense that I ended up here, but the way I got here was from a lot of encouragement from them. So starting when I was 12, I got my first guitar, and my uncle taught me some chords, and my dad taught me some chords. And as I grew up and went throughout high school, I started to become more and more passionate about songwriting, more passionate about singing while playing the guitar. And by the time it was time to apply for colleges, I really wanted to go into a helping profession. And in my mind, that meant, therapist, psychologist, nurse, etc. And it was my family who said, Rosie, I think you should try pursuing music. You can help a lot of people doing music. And I didn't fully understand the weight of what they said, but when I applied to colleges, I got into Berkeley, which it's funny, I'm wearing the sweater. And when I got to Berkeley, I found music therapy, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can help people through music, like huge breakthrough. And once again, it was my family who said, if you want to be a music therapist, like we support it, but you should really, pursue your passion of songwriting and performing. Like you're such, you love it so much. And so going into my second year at Berkeley, I really officially started studying songwriting. And shortly after that, the pandemic hit. And it was in 2020 that my brother, who's also a musician and also my manager, was like, you should try posting on TikTok. And my family was like, yeah, try it, And day 5 was never the one. So day 5 of posting was how that happened. And since then, I've just been, catapulted into the industry. And it's been an incredible journey. And I'm so happy and honored that I get to work with Arista now under Sony and Warner Chappell. But a lot of getting here was, working hard, doing what I love, and just having such incredible support. And now I know how much of a helping profession music really is, and being an artist. And when I was younger, I did it to help myself, and through my own mental health struggles. And as I get older, I realized I don't only do it for me, but I also do it for other people, and I am helping others. And so that's kind of a little story of where I come from and where I've been and now where I am.
Sure. Now, going back to that TikTok and Never the One. So you're kind of at the point where you're just getting started and maybe like, is this going to be right for me? Am I going to do this? You're like wavering maybe a little bit, and then boom, it hits. So when you first kind of heard the news that Never the One was just blowing up, what was kind of going through your mind? And, life just suddenly changed?
I I'm a big believer in the universe. I'm a big believer in signs. And I had been questioning if I had what it took, or I was good enough, or I would ever get the exposure that I was, hoping to get. And when the moment that video went viral, Mateo, my brother, and I always say that we locked in and we understood how much of an amazing opportunity it was. And since that moment, we've just been all in, eyes in front. And it was really just such a sign. For us, it was a sign that okay, we're in the right place. The wind is at our backs. We're going in the right direction. And literally since then, September 13th, 2020, it has just been all in.
Absolutely. So you've got a new EP that's going to be coming out. So tell us a little bit about the new EP and kind of how it came together, a little bit about your songwriting process for it.
So this EP is called 5 Songs for Healing, and the precursor, the EP before, was called 20 Milligrams of Happiness. And 20 milligrams of happiness was all about heartbreak and loss and going through the 5 stages of grief. And on the other side of that, when you get through that, is healing, you know? And so once you've kind of gone through these stages and you've gone through your heartbreak and your loss, there's this light at the end of the tunnel that you start to see. And for me, that's where the healing journey started. And so we left off 20 milligrams of happiness in, 2021, early 2022. And that's really when I began my healing journey, just, finding myself, finding my worth, my self-love, who I am, like my confidence. And so this 5 Songs for Healing EP is really oriented around growing and change and confidence. And so much of 20 milligrams was, you hurt me and you did this and you made me feel that and I'm heartbroken. And so much of 5 Songs for Healing is, oh my gosh, this is who I am. I'm so happy to be here. Like I'm learning so much about myself. And really more than anything, this project just explores the ups and downs and roller coasters that come with healing, because it's a lot, it's a lot, and it's extremely emotional, and there's a lot of feelings that are involved in healing. And so these 5 songs, each one just kind of represent a different stage in my healing journey.
Okay. Now, I'm imagining that the recording process for the EPs were a little bit different from Never the One, because that was, I think, in your bedroom, just you and a piano and going for it. So tell us a little bit about who how the working was. Were you involved in the production of it at all?
Yeah, the first project, 20 milligrams, was written mostly in my room by myself. We were in peak COVID, pre-vaccine, like deep COVID. And I was living with my parents at the time, who were both high risk. And so I truly spent every day, up to 10 hours every day, just writing. That was all I could do, literally. Like there was nothing else to do.
Right.
And so that was a very introverted and like self-reflective time. And I had some incredible co-writers on that project, but as the world kind of started to open up, I went to LA and I found a couple collaborators that I really, really loved. And that's kind of how I started my relationship with the West Coast. And like, I was just getting to know people and meeting people that I'd met on Zoom. And then when 5 Songs for Healing, I started to create that, there was such a sense of knowing for me, like, okay, I know this is who I want to work with. I know this is who I am and what I want to write about. And even though I didn't know it was going to be called 5 Songs for Healing or it was based around healing, I knew what I felt and what I needed to write about. And so going into it, there was so much more confidence. And I knew, I was like, okay, I'm going to be in New York this week. I'm going to LA for this week. So many of my collaborators and my community is and are out in LA. And so I would say I went in with a lot more confidence in this second project and just a lot more self-assurance.
Now you also had something pretty cool coming up. So it's not every day that you get to write songs for movies, right? Hopefully someday you'll be able to do that every day. But you had a great opportunity come up to write a song for Sony Films, and it just happens to star some super mega talented, not only actors and actresses, but musicians, because there's Celine Dion and Priyanka Chopra Jonas and Nick Jonas. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the film. And also, I believe that they changed the whole name of the film after they heard your song, To Love Again. So that is an amazing also moment, I'm sure, in your life. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the film and, just what you're feeling after, they changed the whole name of the film for you.
I know. It's incredible. I'm so humbled. But I got this opportunity first and foremost through Dan Wilson, who is an incredible writer and an incredible artist advocate, just human. And we were connected in late 2020. And he was sent this brief that basically described A Text from You, which was the name of the movie. And his manager, Jim Grant, asked Dan, you want to take a stab at writing this with Rosie? He had already written it, with other people. Like, there were lots of submissions, lots of ideas floating around, but it was Jim who suggested, hey, we think you should try writing this with Rosie. So over a year ago, we sat down on Zoom. It was still like Zoom times, and we wrote this song called You Will Love Again, based on the brief. And we heard nothing for months and months and months. We just sat down for a couple hours, wrote this song that we loved, but who knows?
Right.
And fast forward, like almost a year, we get a call that says they love it, they want to use it, Celine wants to sing it. Like, there are some details that need to be worked out, but ultimately they really love the song. So somewhere in the process, Dan kind of shortened like You Will Love Again to Love Again, and the demo kind of started like coming together. And then I heard that she was cutting vocals and Dan was going to be in the studio, and I was like, wow, like this is real, this is really happening. And so fast forward to a couple months ago, we get a call from Jim, and Jim and Mateo really like fostered an incredible relationship out of this. And Dan and I really consider him like a mentor and also a peer. And he called him and was like, hey, they want the title of your song to be the title of the movie. And we were like, what? Like, no way, that's crazy. It hadn't even really set in that they chose our song anyway, And so somehow everything came together. Celine cut it, we got all the contracts worked out. They changed the title of the movie, and a couple weeks ago, it came out. And seeing it in theater, seeing the title, it all felt really surreal, and I think I'm still processing it. But like I said, I just owe so much to Dan Wilson and so much to Jim and so much to Mateo for really making it happen. I mean, I always say, like, I got the best part, I got the best job, because I just get to write the song, and I get to create for creating's sake, and for such an incredible artist. Celine is an icon, and to have a song sang by her again is such an honor. So I'd say more than anything, I'm so grateful, and I'm so humbled, and I owe so much to my team and my collaborators.
Is that something that you would want to do more of in the future, writing specifically for films or TV or something?
I do, yeah. My dad actually works in TV and film. He's a art director, so he helps build out the sets for movies and stuff. And so growing up, I was always really fascinated between the relationship of songs versus movies and songs in movies. So, I'm equally as much a songwriter as I am an artist, and I would love to do more.
Awesome. Now you've also got more exciting things happening, because you are pretty soon, in a couple weeks, going to embark on your first US headlining tour. And it's the Healing Tour, which I love, because, you've already touched on that. But for me, music is just the one thing that can heal and get you through all the rough times, and, celebrate the good times as well. But it's just such a powerful emotional force for so many people. So tell us a little bit about the tour and what you're most excited about, and kind of what people can expect when they come out to see a show.
Well, this is my first ever headlining tour, which, can I just say, incredible. Cannot believe I get to do this. It's an actual dream. But the intention behind this tour is to create a space and to create a place where people can feel comfortable and safe and feel like they can let their walls down and be emotional. And the entire set is kind of like a journey, because it starts at the beginning where we experience this sadness, and kind of throughout it moves from the 20 milligrams era into the 5 Songs for Healing era, and it ends on this high note. And again, it's this roller coaster, but overall, my intention behind this tour and my intention behind the title and just what I do is to help others and to spread mental health awareness. And I really hope that it brings people joy, and I hope it brings people some type of solace, because my favorite part of being an artist is performing and meeting everyone and interacting with people and singing with them, And so it truly brings me so much joy, and I just hope that I can bring that same joy to these people, you know, because I really want it to be a reciprocal relationship, and I want it to go both ways. And so this is kind of like my way of I'd say hopefully my best way of giving back and saying thank you.
Fantastic. It sounds like it'll be amazing, you know, to take that journey through both of the EPs with you.
I
Will
hope
be an
so. I'm
incredible
so
night.
excited.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today and filling us in on everything. We appreciate it. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck with more songwriting for films in the future, I hope, and definitely have a blast on the tour. I know it's going to be amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it.